In every Formula 1 season, you have seen that Formula 1 drivers are experiencing penalties because of the violation of the rules and regulations. Even though they have been set out by the FIA to create fair play among drivers and teams, it makes the game more complex for viewers because of their technicality. Some penalties are imposed for the violation of on-track rules and regulations, while others are for not sticking to the rules set related to the development process of the Formula 1 challenges. The severity of penalties are different relative to the level of the offense that the drivers made. Most of the F1 fans have no proper idea about how the grid penalty system works, and that's why we have decided to discuss the grid penalty system of Formula 1 in detail. So stay till the last second of the video, as we are going to explain everything from A to Z. But before we proceed, hit the subscribe button and smash the bell icon for more exciting updates. Let's begin with warnings that comes before any type of penalty. Before offering a penalty, drivers are given a number of warnings to avoid any offenses that they continuously make. As an example, once the drivers start to exceed track limits during a race, they are given a warning first, and for further exceeding track limits, directly given a time penalty by the race control. Other than warnings, drivers are given reprimands before imposing a penalty. Reprimand is also similar to a warning, but imposed for both sporting and non-sporting offences. Normally, 4 reprimands are given in a season before imposing a 10-place grid penalty on the 5th occasion. Sebastian Vettel once became a victim of such grid penalty for wearing same love shirts at the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, neglecting the reprimands. We have seen drivers are regularly experiencing time penalties in most of the races for the violation of rules during a race. If they pit before the race ends, they have to serve the time penalty inside the pit area. But if they continued racing without pitting again, a penalty is added to their racing time at the end. Most recently, Sergio Perez experienced such a time penalty at the end of the 2023 Dutch Grand Prix, losing his podium place to Gasly after imposing a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. However, for the severe type of offences, race control can impose compulsory drive-through penalties on some occasions. In such instances, the driver must go through the pit lane before continuing the rest of the race. Sometimes, this one may be extended up to a stop-and-go penalty as well. Under such a circumstance, the driver has to stop his car inside the pit lane for 10 seconds, and his crew is not allowed to do any operations to repair the car within that time period. A penalty of 10 seconds is enough to totally ruin a race. Grid penalties are usually given when a team exceeds the allocated amount of engine and gearbox components within a season. Each component of the engine and gearbox are sealed by the FIA to ensure those parts can't be rebuilt or replaced. Exhaust elements are marked clearly, and gearbox components are also given unique identification numbers to avoid any cheating. They are sealed in between Grand Prix events to ensure that no modifications are done without any proper permission from the FIA. If any team is found guilty of attempting or breaking those seals, they are given serious punishments. However, the teams can use the engine or gearbox components exceeding the allowed limit under proper permission. In such occasions, grid penalties are imposed as follows. Gets a 10-place grid penalty on the first occasion that an additional element is used. Gets a 5-place grid penalty on the second occasion that an additional element is used. But for any other modifications beyond the 15-place grid penalty, the driver has to begin the race from the back of the starting grid. Normally, the grid penalty is added to the qualifying results and decides the new place of the starting grid. But when there are several drivers starting from the back of the grid after experiencing a similar type of penalty, then the qualifying results affects on deciding the final grid positions. As an example, during the 2022 Canadian Grand Prix, Leclerc and Tsunoda had to start the race from the back of the grid after experiencing a similar type of grid penalty. But Leclerc, who qualified to Q2, started the race as 19th, and Tsunoda, who was knocked out of Q1, as 20th on the starting grid. The next worst punishment that can be received by a driver is disqualification from the race. When a driver or his team has done a serious offence that can't be compensated by using a time penalty or grid penalty, they are directly disqualified from the race. A similar thing happened during the 2021 Hungarian Grand Prix, when Aston Martin was unable to provide a fuel sample after the race to check the legality of the fuel. So, Sebastian Vettel was disqualified despite his second place finish. More severe than a disqualification, suspension is the worst type of penalty that can be imposed on a driver. This one is only given in unavoidable circumstances, when the driver or challenger is a danger for natural racing. Within the last 40 years, 6 drivers have experienced suspensions, and Romain Grosjean was the last one to receive such a severe punishment because of his dangerous racing style throughout the first half of the 2012 season, causing many crashes and collisions. The Frenchman was given a ban for the 2012 Italian Grand Prix after showing a peak of his issues during the race at Spa-Francorchamps. But drivers are not the only ones to receive those punishments, and teams also can be subjected to those severe penalties for the violation of rules and regulations. Red Bull's cost cap violation of 2021 and Renault's Crashgate scandal in 2008 can be given as such examples. Simply, that is how the Formula 1 penalty system works, and we hope you got a good insight into the matter through this video. What do you think is the worst punishment ever received by a Formula 1 driver? Do you have anything to share with us? Use the comment section below. Thanks for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, subscribe to the channel to get more exciting Formula 1 news. See you in the next video, guys. Goodbye.